It all started with a cold metal chair digging into my back and the fluorescent buzz of airport lights I couldn't escape. I'd been there for 3 days, 3 full days, watching flights come and go while my phone stayed stubbornly silent. I was supposed to be on one of those planes flying to Italy with the woman I thought I'd marry. I had the ring in my pocket, still in its velvet box, heavy as a brick. She'd promised to meet me there, promised a future, a life together. But her apartment was empty. When I went looking, her phone went straight to voicemail, and all I had left was this chair and a gnawing sense of humiliation. People looked at me like I was homeless, and in a way I was. Not for lack of money, I had more than I'd ever need, but because every part of my life that felt like home had just vanished. "Why do you look so sad, mister?" The voice startled me out of my thoughts. I looked down, expecting an adult, and found a tiny girl staring up at me with big, curious eyes. She was 6 at most, her brown skin glowing under the harsh lights, beads in her braids clicking softly as she tilted her head. Her pink dress was faded, her sneakers scuffed. "I'm not sad," I said, forcing a smile. "Just tired." She gave me a look only kids can, pure honesty with no sugarcoating. My mom says people lie when they don't want others to worry, but lying makes sad feelings worse. Before I could respond, a frantic voice cut through the crowd. "Maya. Maya, where are you?" The girl waved. "Over here, Mama." A woman hurried over her curls, escaping a messy bun. Her jeans worn a backpack slung over one shoulder. She knelt to scold her daughter gently, relief flooding her face. "You can't just run off like that." I was scared. "I was talking to the sad man," the little girl Maya said, pointing at me. "He's been sitting here for 3 days. I've been watching him." The woman flushed. "I'm sorry. She doesn't mean to be rude." "It's all right," I said softly. She hesitated, her eyes scanning me like she was deciding if I was dangerous or just broken. Something about her stuck with me, those shadows under her eyes, the way her hand trembled slightly as she held Maya's. Hours later, I spotted them again. Maya was curled up on a bench, asleep on her mother's lap. The woman, Talia, I would later learn, stared out the window with tears streaking her cheeks. I approached quietly. "Mind if I sit?" She startled but nodded. "You're still here." "Yeah." I sat beside her, leaving space. "You want to tell me what's really going on? And before you say nothing, I've built my whole career reading people. You're hiding something." For a moment, I thought she'd ignore me. Then in a whisper, she told me her story, how she'd given up her apartment, quit her jobs, and spent her savings, because her ex promised a fresh start as a family. He told her to meet him at the airport for a surprise trip. That was 2 days ago. His phone was disconnected, his apartment empty. She was stranded with her daughter, and all she had left was $200 and a duffel bag. The anger I felt wasn't mine to feel, but it burned anyway. "You can't stay here." "We don't have much choice," she said, her voice cracking. "We can't afford a hotel." I reached for my wallet. "Here." Her eyes went sharp. "No, we don't take charity." "This isn't charity," I said, gently holding out $500 in cash. "It's an investment in proving not everyone in this world is terrible." Maya stirred, blinking at us. "Is the sad man helping us?" Mommy Talia froze, torn between pride and desperation. Her daughter reached for the money. "Take it, Mommy. He's kind like Grandma said good people are." And just like that, the wall crumbled. She took the cash, whispering, "Thank you." I didn't plan to get involved beyond that. I figured I'd pay for a hotel, buy them dinner, and they'd figure things out. But that night, sitting alone in my car outside the hotel, I couldn't bring myself to leave. Something about that little girl's trust and her mother's quiet dignity stuck with me. The next morning, I showed up with coffee and pastries. Maya's squeal of delight when she saw me was like sunlight through clouds. "Nathan, you came back." We spent that day by the hotel pool. I watched Maya splash and chatter, and I saw Talia's shoulders finally relax for the first time. Over lunch, I made her an offer, a job as my personal assistant, plus a furnished apartment above my garage. She protested it was too much, too sudden, but I told her I'd been meaning to hire someone for months. You'd be doing me a favor, I said. 2 weeks later, the apartment smelled like home. Maya had books on her shelves, drawings taped to the fridge. Talia had organized my chaotic life in days, and suddenly I had breakfast company laughter echoing through my house and peace. But peace is dangerous when you've been alone too long. I found myself looking forward to their smiles, lingering at the dinner table, sitting on the back porch with Talia after Maya went to bed. She'd sip wine, and I'd tell her about the ex-fiancé I'd spent 3 days waiting for. She wasn't right for you, Talia said one night, her voice soft but certain. A woman who leaves you standing alone at an airport. She doesn't deserve you. I looked at her in the glow of the porch light, her face tired but beautiful, and something inside me shifted. Maya, of course, noticed before we did. Kids always do. One evening at dinner, she announced, "You should just get married. Then we'd be a family for real." Talia nearly choked on her water. "Maya, what, you love each other," she said simply. "You already act married." I laughed it off, but her words lingered. Weeks passed. I learned Talia had always dreamed of being a teacher, but life had stolen that chance. So I created an education benefit program in my company just for her. When I showed her the paperwork, she cried. "Why are you doing this?" she whispered. "Because your dreams matter to me," I said. "Because I want to spend the rest of my life helping you and Maya." That was the night I told her I loved her. She whispered it back, tears glinting in her eyes. We hadn't said the word marriage yet, but something had already shifted. 3 months later, I planned a special night. Dinner, a walk through a park glowing with early Christmas lights, and a velvet box in my jacket. I was nervous, palms sweating, but before I could say a word, Maya beat me to it. She ran up to us, her eyes bright. "Nathan, you should marry Mommy." I knelt down smiling. "You think so?" "Of course," she said confidently. "You love her. She loves you. And I want to call you Daddy." I pulled out the ring. "Actually, Maya, I was hoping you'd help me ask her properly." Talia's hands flew to her mouth. I took a deep breath. "You and Maya came into my life when I needed you most. You taught me what family really means. Will you marry me? Will you let me be her father?" Talia laughed and cried all at once. "Yes. Yes, of course." Maya squealed loud enough to startle birds from nearby trees. "We're getting married." People clapped as we walked back to the car, strangers cheering for a love story they didn't know. The wedding was small, held in a sunlit church. Maya wore a dress that matched her mother's and proudly declared, "Nobody better object. I planned this whole thing." The congregation roared with laughter. Later at the reception, I danced with her to "You've Got a Friend in Me," while Talia watched, her eyes shining. Maya whispered as I spun her around, "This is the best day ever, Daddy." And I thought, yeah, me too. That night, after the cake and the music and the toasts, we sat on our porch watching the stars. 6 months ago, Talia murmured, "We were stranded at an airport with nothing. We had everything the moment we trusted each other," I said. She smiled, leaning into me. "I love you, Nathan. I love you too, Mrs. Harris." Maya's giggles floated through the open window. "You're both so sappy," she called, making us laugh. Our story wasn't perfect. There were court papers to file therapy sessions for a little girl who'd been abandoned nights when Talia doubted if happiness this pure could last. But we built something real out of trust, out of second chances, out of a little girl's unshakable faith and love. I sometimes wonder what people saw when they walked past me in that airport sitting alone for 3 days. A fool. Maybe. But I'd wait 3 years if it meant finding them. So tell me, what do you think? Was I crazy for offering a stranger a home? Was Talia brave or reckless for saying yes? Have you ever seen kindness change someone's life? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because sometimes love stories like ours aren't fairy tales. They're just choices we're brave enough to make.